Good afternoon everybody. We have started off today's live at the waterhole over at Tau Lodge in Madikwe Game Reserve with a lovely herd of elephants that have come down for a drink. Waterbuck, there's some zebra and some wildebeest and kudu. My goodness, there is a lot happening here. Oh, and don't forget our crocodiles. So my name is Kerry Dupree and I will be with you today live at the waterhole. Just a reminder that this is a live and interactive experience. You can watch us on our app, or if you're watching on the website, you can register, ask those questions and comments. Let me know how your weekend was, if you had any awesome bird lifers or wildlife experiences you would love to share. Just a reminder that you can also use the QR code on screen as well as our WhatsApp line to send through those questions and comments. Oh, what a lovely way to start our day, live at the waterhole with quite a variety of different animal species. Wow, let's count how many species we have here. So we've got elephant, waterbuck, zebra, kudu, wildebeest, I just saw impala, and crocodiles. That's 7 different species all in this one frame. I think it's coming in at tide with Aldonio, my other location that I've had the most mammals or creatures in one scene, or one frame, was at Aldonio. I think it was also 7 different species. So how epic is that? Wow, busy day here at Tau. So Mr. HUAE87 sends his greetings. Good afternoon, Mr. HUAE. What a lovely day it is for sure. So we've got our 2 crocodiles down on this very thick, reeded, marshy area. Now, I know there's been lots of activity with the crocodiles lately over at Tau. There's been lots of mating going on. So gestation period for the crocodiles, once they have had a successful mating season, is normally about 30 days. So after mating of the male and female crocodile, it'll generally be about 30 days incubation period. By then the female needs to find a nice safe place to dig in a sandbank, whereby she will lay her eggs in that sandbank and wait for another 90 days for her eggs to hatch. Now, we've been chatting a lot about the fact that Tau, to me, does not seem like the best place for crocodiles to lay their eggs. There's not too many nice soft sandy beaches, but crocodiles have been around for millions of years, and I'm sure they will find somewhere to lay their eggs. Oh, have a look. So there's a male and female waterbuck just on the right hand side of the screen. It looks like the male waterbuck could be testing to see if this female is in season. Just trying to see if she is ready for mating. She does not seem very interested though, I will say. Ooh, got some birds that have come in. So I know we've had our teals that have been around. I think it's the Cape teals that have been at this pan. It would be nice if we could see some black-winged stilts. Oh, we got our grey herons just come in here. It is a busy day today at Tau. Goodness. Wow. Such a lovely to see such diversity in one spot. So Donna Morga. Yes, Donna, it is so nice to see so many lovely animals all in one place. And if I think about it, I don't often see breeding herds of elephants coming down to Tau. It's often mostly just bulls. And if you do see breeding herds, they don't stay for very long. They kind of very swiftly move in, have a bit of a drink, and very swiftly move out. So nice to see these breeding herds actually spending some time here, having a drink. Oh, we've got some white-faced whistling ducks, also just near the crocodiles on this very thick reeded bank here. Looks like our waterbuck on the left-hand side of the screen are having a very muddy Monday. And our grey heron has also joined us as these water levels dwindle down to muddy puddles. It does attract a lot of water birds coming to feed on the fish or any little aquatic life that might be edible. Ella from KZN says, what a wonderful way to start. Yes, Ella, this is such a wonderful way to start the show today. We've got so much happening here. Oh, it's actually a grey heron, not a black-headed heron. Oh, wow. Have a look at this guy. So grey heron and black-headed heron can often be mistaken for one another. They are similar sized herons, but your grey heron is a lot more white in colour and has that black eye stripe, whereas your black-headed heron is quite a bit darker and more prominent black, especially on the neck, and he doesn't have that black eye stripe, so mostly black on his head and the back of his neck. So this heron, he'll be moving through this very thick, muddy vegetation, patiently waiting to see if he can catch any fish, frogs, or any other little aquatic invertebrates that might make for a nice breakfast. Oh, look at these elephants. I've actually just been watching Secrets of the Elephants today, one of my favorite wildlife documentaries done by Nat Geo. You can watch it on Disney Plus. Oh my gosh, and all about elephants, and just, yeah, it just makes you realize what interesting creatures these elephants are and how they've adapted to living in so many different environments, and living in the forest, the African bush elephant, which we're seeing now, forest elephants, your desert elephants. Those desert elephants, my goodness, they really have evolved to living in such harsh conditions. It's quite interesting to see the differences between different elephants across the world or across Africa. Especially those forest elephants, they've got very long toenails, I noticed. It's probably due to the fact they don't walk on very hard surfaces. They mostly spend their time walking through that very soft Namibian desert sand, so they don't get much of a pedicure done on those toes of theirs. They've got, especially the big bulls and old cows, have very, very long toenails, almost like an old tortoise with those long little toenails there. Oh.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Best sighting I've presented, I found myself with wild dogs. We chased the dogs around, chased them around. They ate an impala, we got the end of that. Then another impala went into Gowrie Dam down the road there, and the wild dogs went around. Eventually the impala came close to the bank. One wild dog went and grabbed it and then just pulled it out and just did what wild dogs do. It was an emotional experience, but it was very, very special.
There's some ellies that we're approaching now.
The light on her as well is absolutely gorgeous.
So we are going to enjoy the rest of this sunset.
Wow, this is absolutely crazy.
And thank you for joining us. For myself and Cam, we will see you next time.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
So you also find ticks will not just be in open grassland area, but you can find them in woodland areas as well as forest edges. So they'll try to hang out on little leaves or leaf litter, underbrush, or any shady, humid areas. Maybe when a buffalo comes into the thick forest and lies down, that's also a great opportunity for these ticks to jump onto their skin. But you do get some tick species that will also live on the ground, so like in the soil, and leaf litter, so any kind of leaves or vegetation that might have a bit of disturbance with animals moving through. So I hope that answers your question there, Dizzy, about ticks and how ticks get onto animals and where ticks live. So you do get lots of different species of ticks. Can get quite a nasty disease called tick bite fever or Lyme's disease from ticks. Yes, it is very rare, but I do suggest if you're nervous of contracting any of these diseases, and when you travel to Africa, as long as you wear a nice pair of long pants. Some people I know do spray themselves underneath their clothing before putting their long pants on. Put some gaiters on, get sealed up, and you'll be perfectly fine. Although most of the time we're quite cautious of these things, and don't always get affected with tick bite fever. It's not a common disease to contract, although it is out there amongst some of the ticks. Elephants don't necessarily worry too much about ticks. I mean, yes, buffalo, I know buffalo really struggle with ticks. Impala, any animals that are also immune compromised, ticks can really be a bit of a struggle. You know, all the buffalo bulls, they get into their ears and they create these nasty open wounds, which then ox pickers can come and pick away. But it's all part of survival and nature, and these animals are so resilient and their bodies are so used to being attacked by all these different little insects and parasites, so they build up very strong immune systems. Look at this water buck, really struggling, very thick mud here. It does surprise me that these waterbuck are not nervous of being in this thick water with these crocodiles around. I have seen the crocodiles here at Tau killing a few waterbuck before, but I think because this water level is so low, crocodiles wouldn't necessarily take a chance to kill a waterbuck in this thick muddy water, because if you can see, the waterbuck are standing, so it'll be very difficult for a crocodile to actually bring these waterbuck into deeper water. Alright folks, why don't we head across to Mawela over in Botswana and see what else is happening out there today. Alrighty, so we are here at Mawela Lodge over in Botswana. This is one of our new locations, so very exciting to check out one of our new locations. We have a lot of zebra and wildebeest that come through these areas. As I mentioned earlier, it's a dry season in Africa at the moment, so a lot of these water sources are dwindling. And why we have so many zebra in these areas is because this area does form a part of a massive migratory route for the zebra and wildebeest, so they'll be migrating at the moment to get to areas with more grass, more food, and more water. So we have a question from Kezia, who's asking, what different lapwing species do you have at Tau? So Kezia, I've only ever seen the blacksmith lapwing, but I guess you could also get the wattled lapwing. I've never seen them there, but you could also get the little wattled lapwings. And then of course you do get the tiny little three-banded plover. That's quite a common little plover to get over at Tau, but I'd say the most common lapwing species at Tau is definitely that blacksmith lapwing. Is the more common species that you could find there. Lots of waterfowl at Tau. It's a great little birding spot. So we'll just have a bit of a quiet moment to listen to the sound of these zebra. They're all vocalizing. Lots of activity, lots happening, lots of excitement as they're meeting and greeting one another. while we are on the lapwing topic, we have a question from Josie, and Josie's asking, do wattled lapwings also live in cities in Johannesburg? I thought I saw one yesterday. So Josie, yes, definitely. You could find wattled lapwings in the city. I have seen wattled lapwings in Johannesburg before. You can also find crowned lapwings. I often see crowned lapwings in Johannesburg. I'm not. Look at these zebra. So, yeah, a lot of the calling and vocalizing of the zebra, as I mentioned, it'll be meeting and greeting, maybe lost individuals trying to call their family. Alrighty, sounds like we have a beautiful scene waiting for us over in Oldonyo, Kenya. So let's go see what's happening in Oldonyo. So we have some more zebra over in Oldonyo. It's been quite interesting watching the comings and goings of the waterhole, especially in Oldonyo with the zebra. They've been quite feisty over this waterhole. Lots of zebra and elephant interactions that are quite unusual. As the zebras start to come into this waterhole, they can be quite bossy, quite boisterous, that waterhole zebra, but elephants are also the same. Elephants don't always like to share their waterholes. So we also have a female giraffe. It looks like she's coming down for a drink, already had a drink, and this poor eland is also desperate for a drink of water. It seems like we have a few bull elephants taking up most of the space at the waterhole today. Oh, isn't this a lovely scene? So it looks a lot clearer here in Oldonyo than last week. I must say on Friday it did look very cloudy and a bit overcast, a bit of ominous weather, so I'm sure the temperature has changed quite a bit since last week. I'm sure they're probably experiencing some quite warm weather, just as we are here in Southern Africa. So I know, yeah, temperatures in Southern Africa, especially in South Africa, have been climbing quite a lot the last week and a bit. Yeah, we've been having 28 to 32 degrees the last couple of days. I was quite warm yesterday. Definitely need to stay hydrated on these very hot summer days, folks. Don't forget to take your rehydrate. Liquid IVs are also great, especially if you go on safari. We never drink enough when on safari, so just make sure to stay hydrated. Get in those salts and minerals, just like our elephants are doing right now. I wonder if this giraffe female is going to be brave enough to have a drink. I think she's unsure of us, a bit skeptical. I think she knows she's being watched. So Josie, going back to your comment about wattled lapwings, it's incredible how there's such an amazing bird diversity in the city. I'm not sure what area of Johannesburg you live in, Josie, but I am currently in Little Falls in Roodepoort, and some of the parks that are around in our area. I've also got Walter Sisulu that's really close by to my house, and it's amazing how many birds we see in this area. We've also got Little Falls Nature Reserve, so it's amazing all the birds that come down into these areas. Not just lapwings and plovers, but you get such an array of sunbirds that you might see, fiscals, flycatchers. It's quite lovely to see all these urban birds doing so well, thriving and being successful, even in an urban city environment. Oop, we've got some more birds here. So Donna Morgan loves the sound of the zebra. Yes, Donna Morgan, I will agree with you there. I do love the sound of zebra. Even though sometimes it might be a bit of a distress call, but yeah, it is lovely hearing the zebra communicating with one another. Oh, this elephant has an itchy leg. Billy Judd has also sent through a question. So did you see any Grevy's zebra sightings? Billy Judd, I don't think I've ever seen the Grevy's zebra. Most of the zebra species I've seen are the plains zebra or common zebra, as well as the mountain zebra. Yeah, Grevy's zebra is not a zebra I'm very familiar with. Oop, have a look here. What nice to see these eland coming down to drink. Hello. Hopefully they won't be chased away by the elephant. Oh, so nice to see these eland coming down here. Looks like 2 females.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
Love the sound of these forest birds here over in Tembe Elephant Park. I can hear some sounds like village weavers calling. We always have those green bills vocalizing. The birds sound like they are having a rather busy day over in Tembe. I know we had a few elephant pool parties in Tembe last week, so it was lovely to see the elephants here in Tembe actually swimming. I haven't seen that too often. Oh, there's some more elephant balls. So Julian Thomas, thank you for your comment, Julian. I know Julian is quite a birder. Julian Thomas made a comment on urban birds, that apparently urban birds tend to be generalized species that can thrive alongside humans, so they're doing well while more species, specialized species, suffer. So yeah, Julian, I do find it can be a bit of a give and take with urban areas. Some species do really not enjoy living around people or in urban areas, but some species seem to really thrive. So that's why I always encourage people, if you're interested in birding, you want to get more birds into your garden, as many little water stations as you can, some little seed stations down on the ground if you want to hang some little little bird baths or bird feeders up as well with your little pieces of fruit, and plant as many fruiting and flowering trees in your garden as possible. Figs do attract quite a variety of birds. Any honeysuckle plants for those sunbirds. You can really get a huge variety of birds just in the comfort of your own home, watching your garden. So I'm hoping these elephants might have a pool party Although it looks like a bit of a breezy day in Tembe. It doesn't look as hot as it was on Friday when the elephants were having their last pool party here in Tembe. But look at this elephant, has got a very interesting, unique tear mark on the his right hand ear. Will be quite a prominent identifying feature when trying to identify this individual. Shame that does look like he ripped his ear on some vegetation. Often when elephants are moving, I mean, especially here in Tembe, such thick sand forests, lots of acacia trees, very thorny, knobby trees that can catch onto their ears and shred their ears a little bit. Oh, actually both of his ears have very unique shred tear marks. Of course, males can get these deformities in their ears or injuries in their ears also from fighting with other bulls. Wow, that is quite a tear there. So if he's a less dominant bull, it can cause some injuries, especially if he's a little bit opinionated and wants to fight with the bigger bulls. So sometimes the young bulls can be quite strong-willed or strong-headed and don't necessarily want to give into the hierarchy of the bachelor group that they're in. But if they would like to stay, then they need to obey the hierarchy or follow the chain of command within that group. And sometimes they can get a little bit beaten up, put into their place. Oop. Sounds like a black-headed golden oriole. And we've also got some woolly neck storks joining us. Oh, it's so lovely to listen to the sound of the birds. Feels like this younger bull is guarding the water in a way. I'm not surprised if he's gotten himself into trouble. He looks like a bit of a cheeky fella. So, Recycled Teenager from the UK has sent through a question asking, will the waterholes flood when the rains come? How do the animals adapt? So, Recycled Teenager, during the rainy season, not all of these waterholes will flood. I mean, areas like Moella over in Botswana, where we were watching the zebra, there's ancient river lines there that used to flood, maybe a few 100 years ago, but the water table generally in southern Africa has been depleting or going down a lot in the last few decades, which means that there's smaller and smaller pans and smaller waterholes. So yes, these waterholes will fill up, but generally not as much flooding as they used to be. And animals do adapt. They are so adaptable to different environments. So even if they are in an area like the Okavango Delta, for example, if the water does flood in those areas, it's amazing how animals will move and adapt and relocate themselves into different areas in order to avoid being stranded on islands. But even if they do get stranded on islands, it's amazing to see how, like waterbuck, lechwe, impala are very prone to surviving quite well on islands as long as there's enough food for them and space. Oh, so we've had some female nyala. So lovely to see the nyala and a nice big male. So this male is displaying, he is trying to impress the females, showing them how big and strong he is. So it's quite common for male antelope to dig their heads and horns into mud, rub them on trees. I mean, wildebeest even scent mark on trees and can destroy trees on the side of the road, little trees, in order to mark their territory, display to any females that might be in the area. Isn't he beautiful? So this is a fully grown, mature male nyala. Have a look at the tips of his horns, very white in color. It's quite unusual. I've never seen a male nyala with such white tips on the ends of his horns. This does look like a very handsome specimen. I do feel like nyala always look kind of a little bit like hippies. They look like they're wearing brown tights with very shabby sweatpants over. So have a look, very fluffy fur and then very short fur on the brown fur on their legs. But the males have a very elaborate and interesting mating display. So they exhibit what's called philo-erection, whereby the hair on the backs of their necks and down their dorsal crest will all stand up, and they'll do this almost like Michael Jackson moonwalking in a circle around their opponent without even touching each other. Very, very intricate little mating display that these male nyala do go through during the mating season. It's quite fascinating because they don't actually want to touch each other. They don't want to come into physical contact, although occasionally they do. But like with a lot of species, I found out, so it's very similar with a lot of your primate species, like gorillas. It's also very similar in your smaller species, like your brown hyena, as well as your little aardwolf. They will display territorial behavior and mark their territory a lot in order to keep other individuals out of their territory, but they don't want to actually come into contact with one another. They don't want to sustain any injuries that could hinder their ability to survive or feed. So quite an interesting behavior there. I'm sure those weavers must be busy making their nests somewhere close by. Sounds like village weavers or southern mast weavers. Also you can hear a sunbird very happily chirping away. So Nikki is asking, why do Inyala have light brown socks but their coats are dark? So Nikki, it's just part of the sexual dimorphism between male and female Nyala. So if you have a look, the color of the male Nyala's legs, or his socks as you referred, are very similar color to the female Nyala. But the males, obviously, they do, as I mentioned, they have this very visual mating display, so it could be an adaptation in order to look very elaborate for their mating displays. So it does play quite a big role in sexual dimorphism. We have a few female impala, they're also very happily feeding on the grass. It's interesting to see only two. I'm sure there must be some more females somewhere close by. Seems like the antelope in this area are quite relaxed, so they sometimes spread out quite a bit while feeding, which is quite a good sign, unless there's a lion close by.
Oh, wow. Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word. She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. This is action-packed.
My full name is Mpho Tikani. I grew up in Soweto. My first animal that I filmed said to dog. Okay, no, wait. My first animal that I filmed, I think it was an impala. Best sighting ever, I would say it was actually this year, 2024. But it was at this Cedric when we had Mulwati and TP on a warthog kill. I think we have to cut it.
Hyenas laugh sparkling. Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind the scenes videos, fireside chats and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Shine. Don't know if I'd be lying in the sun at this time. I know it's probably getting quite warm over in the Madikwe. So kudu are mostly mixed feeders. They will graze, but they are mostly browsers, and they do feed on roots and pods, seeds, and even flowers during the dry season when food is short. I know they love to feed on the little morning glory flowers as well as the leaves on the morning glory vines. So kudu and nyala in the same family, so they'll both feed on very similar foods. So Nazi is asking, do you ever see nyala at Tau? So Nazi, I don't think Tau, I've never seen nyala at Tau, and I don't think Tau is the right kind of vegetation for nyala to occur. So nyala generally like to be in very thick wooded areas, so like woodland habitat. And yeah, the kind of terrain here at Tau is very shrubby, open grasslands. As you can see, there's not much thick cover, not much thick vegetation. Kudu, this is perfect habitat for kudu, but nyala, I think they would really struggle in this environment. Oh, look at this kudu, he's having a great time. So kudu also like to eat marulas, so they'll also feed on fruits. Seen them feeding on marulas. I've recently seen some footage of kudus feeding on sausage tree fruits, and I'm very interested to see what they're eating here because, sorry, I think we had some challenges with our camera there at Tau. We just slightly lost signal, but we've gone back to Tembe where we have two elephant bulls having a bit of a fight. Looks like our naughty tattered ear elephant bull and another youngster coming to challenge one another. So interesting to watch the interactions and body language that elephants have towards each other. It tells a lot about their personalities as well as how comfortable they feel with one another, their mood. So two bigger bulls could not be bothered with this juvenile nonsense, whereas these two younger bulls still have a lot of energy and nonsense left inside of them to get out. The two big bulls are just very calmly standing in the shade. Let's have a listen to this elephant drinking. You can see the bull on the right is still unsure. I think he feels like this other younger bull might still have a bit of fight left in him. And I feel like the bull on the right is feeling a little bit sad that he's lost his drinking spot. Have a look at our woolly neck storks, also sitting behind the elephants there. Lovely to see woolly neck storks back at Tembe. I don't feel like these bulls are finished fighting. I think they still... Here we go. Interesting to watch these two young bulls playing with each other. So this interaction, this bonding with one another is so important for their social development. So also important in preparing them for when they do actually have altercations or fights with other big bulls. So these elephants drink on average about 100 to 200 liters of water in a day, so that's about 26 to 50 gallons of water in a day. That is a lot of water. It all depends on the temperature and the activities that the elephants are up to. If they're moving a lot, it's very hot, they'll sweat more, they'll need to drink more. Ooh. Oh my gosh, folks, have a look. We've got a little family of Egyptian geese with little ones. Isn't that cute? Quite unusual for them to have chicks this time of year. I remember when I was in Juma last year, in January, the Egyptian geese had chicks, so very, very cute. These little goslings. Gosling does refer to these young Egyptian geese. They are precocial, so that means that they can walk and swim very shortly after they hatch. Both parents will viciously defend and guard these little goslings. They are very protective over their young ones. Oh my goodness, isn't that not just so cute? You generally have anything between 6 to 12 little goslings hatching at one time. Generally, if 2 to 4 or 3 survive, that's pretty lucky. They have quite a low success rate of survival. Lots of predators out there looking to feed on a little Egyptian goose. Oh my goodness, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my, wow, how special is this, folks? We will be keeping an eye out on these goslings and see how they go, how they come along. Hopefully they all survive. So we got a question here from Holly, and Holly is asking, do you think there are any antelope that elephants don't like? So Holly, I think elephants are mostly indifferent to antelope. They're not too fazed by antelope unless they have to share a water source with another antelope species. With an antelope species, then they're not always so happy to share. They don't typically hunt or eat antelope, and they are herbivores, so they're not competing. But generally the interactions will come when it's anything to do with space, food, or competition for food. But elephants generally are the top of the herbivore food chain, so they'll chase anyone away if they are looking to have a good meal. Don't normally have a preference, although I've seen quite a few altercations between elephants and buffalo, Cape buffalo. They've both got quite bold personalities, so I'm not surprised they've fought with each other. Where are these Egyptian geese off to? So it's quite interesting. Egyptian geese will move from one pan to the other if they have too much disturbance, or if the water level is too low. For example, over in Juma, the Egyptian geese family walked from Baobab Dam all the way to the main Juma Dam, which was incredible. It must have been at least 3 kilometers in a straight line. So I was surprised that they managed to survive the long trek, because they have to be very careful when they're walking like this. Birds of prey might try and come after the chicks. Oh, elephants are still fighting. Still got our 2 elephant bulls having a jostle, and our Nyala coming down to drink. So Spas Improv, yes, it is very special to see a little family of Egyptian geese. folks, let's head across to Tau and see what's happening at Tau. Okay, so we've had some very interesting interactions with these crocodiles here at Tau the last couple of weeks. It seems like they've been mating for quite some time. Yeah, it's quite unusual because I didn't know the crocodile mating endeavors went on for such a long period of time. So you can actually see there's 3 crocodiles here. So I'm sure there must be quite a few females, or even if there's just 1 or 2 receptive females in the area, it will definitely attract the attention of all the other males, and they'll all try their best to get their chance to mate with this female. So as we mentioned, once a female has been successfully mated, her incubation period of her eggs is 30 days. After that 30 days, then the incubation for the eggs, once she's laid the eggs, then it is a further 90 days before those eggs actually hatch. We've got a question from Nick, and Nick is asking, how long do crocodiles mate for? Well, Nick, this is quite new and interesting to me, because so far I think these crocodiles have been quite active in this area for about 3-4 weeks now. They've been busy mating. I thought, maybe like most animals, it might be a 24-hour period and then they'd be finished. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see. Their mating generally only lasts about 10 to 30 seconds, but it can obviously last for quite a long period of time. Or as I mentioned earlier, maybe there's more than one female that is receptive, and that's why it seems like this mating period has lasted for such a long time. So apparently within this 2 to 3 week period, multiple mating can occur during the breeding season, and that's pretty much just to make sure that fertilization is achieved. So males are territorial during the mating season, and they may display quite a bit of dominance behavior like head slapping, bellow rumbles, or even pushing other males out of the way. So the females will store the sperm for a short time to fertilize the egg, as I mentioned, 30 days, and fertilization is internal within the female, and then after that 30 days, that's when the female will lay her eggs on a nice sandy riverbank and cover her nest, and she will very viciously guard that nest for the next 60 days before the little crocodiles hatch. Quite an interesting mating display. Oh, we've got some hammerkops calling. How unusual. So much activity with these crocodiles. I'm desperate to see some little baby crocodiles here at Tau. I think it would be very cool to see some baby crocodiles. We had some baby crocodiles over at Mabula that Cam showed me while we were there, so it's quite cool to see them all the time. We've got a question from Jessie, and Jessie's asking, are there any animals that mate just for fun, or is it always for reproductive purposes? So Jessie, there are animals that mate for non-reproductive reasons. The only animals I can think of would probably be your bonobos. I know bonobos, it is a bonding, they'll kind of, they can use mating as not just a reproductive activity. So bonobos, any times of conflict, if there's conflict in a group, if the group is highly stressed, or just to bond with other individuals, bonobos will mate with each other. So that's bonobos. Chimpanzees might also have the same behavior, but it's not as regular as in bonobos. Apparently dolphins do also mate with each other for non-reproductive purposes. My goodness, this is quite a... if there's any children watching, I think this might be a time to maybe just not watch for a few moments. These crocodiles are quite active. So as far as I understand, it's mostly bonobos would be your most common culprits for mating out of reproductive reasons. Chimpanzees, but not as regular, your dolphins, and apparently elephants. So male elephants sometimes mount each other. I've seen it in antelope too, actually, where males will mount each other, but it's more of a sign of dominance. So it's if one male wants to be more dominant over another male, that's what he'll mount the other male, just to feel more superior.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Interesting defense mechanism. So scoots do help to conserve energy and stealth in crocodiles, so they can move quietly while kind of moving to new areas or new territories. And yeah, crocodiles are very strong and efficient on land for short distances, though. They're not great at moving for long distances, and they must pray that they don't get found by a predator. Because if a lion or a leopard finds a crocodile out of water, that makes them very vulnerable and an easy meal. Or hyenas, for that matter of fact. Very easy to kill a crocodile out of water. Which comes to our next question. Billy Judd, yes. As I mentioned, crocodiles, will get eaten by lions, leopard, even hyenas if they're found underwater, whereas these predators need to be very careful of crocodiles, because when crocodiles are in the water, it's a whole different story. So their comfort zone, their prime hunting territory is in deep water. I've seen quite a few documentaries of crocodiles taking lions, wild dogs, catching them at the water's edge, unsuspecting, bringing them into the water. So predators could be very easily taken out by a crocodile, but vice versa. If a crocodile is moving from one pan to the other, generally they'll do this at night so that they go undetected, but they must not be found by any predators, otherwise it could end up being fatal for the poor crocodile. seems like the other crocodiles have moved off and we've just got our 2 individuals here, because at some stage there was 3 crocodiles all in this one little area. I would like to see, so this is the mating that we're witnessing, but I would love to see the courtship of crocodiles. I've seen a few videos and it's quite interesting courtship of the male trying to win the affection of the female. So the males will vocalize, they'll have a very deep bellow rumble, they'll also splash, they'll flick their head up and down in the water to attract the female's attention. Some species will also bite the female gently or intertwine tails, and it's all part of the mating display of these individuals. Generally, the female crocodile will then lay anything between about 20 to 60 eggs, which are quite a lot of eggs, but not many of these crocodiles will be successfully grown to a full adult size. So lots of predators out there that will want to feed on the eggs, so the female crocodile has to now make sure that she chases away any predators that might be going after those crocodile eggs. The monitor lizards are your number 1 culprits. Monitor lizards love to raid a crocodile nest. And it's quite interesting how the female, she'll actually bring herself out of the water and lay on top of her nest in order to give the nest a bit of warmth so that those eggs don't get too cold. Because crocodile sex that hatch out of the eggs is determined on the temperature. So generally the males at a warmer temperature will hatch at the top of the nest, and the females at a colder temperature will hatch at the bottom of the nest. So if something happens to the female crocodile and she cannot get access to the nest, in what cases what might happen is that whole nest might end up just having female crocodiles, because they wouldn't have had access to the female crocodile's body heat to warm up the nest. And quite interesting fact about these crocodiles, once those eggs do hatch, crocodiles are one of the only reptiles that do actually take care of their young. So the female crocodile, once the little babies start vocalizing, make a high pitch like ow, 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 the female, that attracts her to the nest, and then she actually goes with her muzzle or her mouth, and she goes and she picks up these little crocodiles and takes them and puts them in the water without injuring any of them. And for the next few days she will stay in the area where her little hatchlings are in order to protect them for a few days. In this time you could actually see a few of the little baby crocodiles resting on the mother's body or on top of her head. But then after that, those little crocodiles are on their own. But yeah, interesting that they're the only reptiles that do actually look after their young for a short period of time after hatching. Hear those red-knobbed coots calling. So we've got an interesting question from Inkatha, is asking, it's interesting to watch crocodiles. How long does a crocodile take underwater before coming out? So Inkatha, crocodiles have the incredible ability to hold their breath for long periods underwater, and this is due to the fact that it helps their hunting strategy to be able to go underwater and patiently sit and wait for their prey to come down to the water's edge before they launch themselves out of the water, using that very powerful and thick tail of theirs, grabbing onto a piece of their prey, or for example part of their snout, or it normally will be their snout, head, or a shoulder or the neck, and then pull their prey into the water to suffocate their prey before they can actually start feeding on their prey. So generally crocodiles can hold their breath for about 15 to 30 minutes underwater. Although if they are not moving or very slow in their activity, they can hold their breath underwater for even up to 2 hours. But that's if they're not moving or not very active. So yeah, very incredible hunting strategy that these crocodiles have. They're very efficient lungs and a very slow metabolism, and this is what allows the oxygen to last so long in these crocodiles' bodies. So the blood flows, their blood flow is directed to their vital organs, while the muscles get less oxygen, and that's how crocodiles can hold their breath underwater for so long. Saw a little black crake just now running around on these reeds. Looks like our crocodiles are done with their activity for the day. So interesting how crocodiles can blend in so well to the environment. Often their snouts, it's only the tops of their ear crowns and their snouts that stick out of the water. Often look like just either a little rock or a log in the water. Very well camouflaged and inconspicuous. So Joy is asking, could crocodiles incubate their eggs in the water? So Joy, no. As I mentioned, crocodile egg sex is determined by the temperature. So whether the temperature of the eggs will determine if it's going to be a male or a female crocodile that hatches. If crocodiles laid their eggs in the water, that would mean they probably wouldn't hatch. I think those little baby crocodiles would probably die in the eggs if they wouldn't develop at all, because the temperature would not be suitable for the crocodiles, and there would be a lot of predators that might be tempted to eat the eggs. So lovely to still see our elephant herd here at Tembe, and I think we might have a spoonbill, the African spoonbill, just on the right hand side of the impala, on the other side of the pan there. I wonder if this is another herd. It looks like a similar herd. A few little baby elephants in there. So if you have a look, this youngster next to the water's edge closest to us is like sub-adult with little tusks. If they're having a mud bath, playing in the mud, scattering this mud on their bodies, before they drink water, they will actually clean their trunks out before having a drink. Elephants do prefer nice clean water, so they'll always go for the cleanest water source possible. Looks like a breeding herd to the left, and then a big male just at the back on the right hand side, and there's a tiny little baby in there somewhere. And from the documentary I was watching this morning, The Secrets of Elephants, I learnt about how female elephants, with most herbivores, they'll actually eat their afterbirth after they've given birth to their young to remove it from the environment so they don't attract predators. But with elephants, an elephant's afterbirth is massive, and elephants don't generally eat their afterbirth. Sometimes they'll actually play with it, which is quite unusual behavior for an elephant to be playing with her afterbirth, I thought. But in some cases, the female elephant will bury her afterbirth, which I thought is quite a good choice. Also, not to attract any unnecessary attention, like lions or any predators out there. But yeah, quite interesting to learn more about these incredible elephants. It's like a little nursery. These youngsters are all playing with one another. So I'm having a look at this individual on the right. It actually looks like it could be the matriarch, a very big old cow. Just judging on the kind of shape of her head. So often female elephants have a bit of a pointy tip to the tops of their heads, whereas elephant bulls is generally flat. So it actually could be a very big old cow. Oh, isn't this a lovely sighting? Looks like some of them have started having a mud bath. So we've got a question from Hans. Hans is asking, how come matriarch elephants aren't overthrown like in hyena clans? So Hans, in a way, I guess you can say how elephant matriarchs are overthrown in the regard of when they pass away or when they die, their predecessor will be their daughter that then takes over the responsibilities of leading and directing the herd to food and water. The social structure of hyenas is very complex social structure, whereas in the elephant kingdom it seems to just work out perfect that they've got one matriarch, which is the oldest. She knows, she's got a mental map of all the locations and areas that she's ever been to, all the pathways, all the trails, all the safe feeding areas, or the areas that might not be safe, all the waterholes. She's got this incredible maps for Africa map almost in her brain, and she passes that knowledge down to her daughter, so that when she does pass away one day, her daughter will have all this knowledge and all this information. I think it's a lovely social structure. It's just respect by age. Whoop. This does look like a matriarch on the right, folks. Sorry, I thought it was a stand-by male, which this looks like a male that's chasing the matriarch away. I don't know, he seems to be a bit lost and confused. So sometimes males can be a bit mischievous in herds, so males will reunite with breeding herds sometimes, or with females. Again, might not necessarily be just for mating purposes. They do sometimes reunite with breeding herds in order to just rekindle older flames and spend some time with some female elephants that they might have known in a previous life. So very good memories, and they can remember different individuals that they've come across throughout their lives, which is absolutely incredible. Look, there's a tiny little baby elephant.
Let's go and take a look. See you out there.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Emojis. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I want a camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, and I'm very fast.
Greatest wildlife spectacle on planet Earth. We'll see you there.
Out here, every wild moment matters, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel, ad-free 24/7, where you can even rewind and watch something again. Get access to behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and access to early travel offers. It is the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
so lovely to watch these elephants swimming. So I feel like their temptation got the best of them and they just decided, oh, why not? Let's just go and have a swim. We have a question from Linka. Linka is asking, is Tau close to Mabula? So no, Linka. Matau, which is located in Madikwe, is in the northwestern province of South Africa. Mabula is in the Waterberg, so in Limpopo province. Tau is a lot, or Madikwe is closer to the Botswana border, so it's about 4.5 hours from Johannesburg. So I think the driving distance from Mabula to Madikwe will be about 360 kilometers. So yeah, Madikwe is a lot further north in South Africa, close to Botswana border, whereas Mabula is a lot closer to Johannesburg, a lot more south. Look at these elephants. This makes you so happy. Look at these two elephant bulls. So elephants are actually very good at swimming, surprisingly enough. They're very buoyant and they do really enjoy swimming, especially elephant bulls and little calves. But I've seen entire breeding herds moving across river systems to get to islands that are lush, green, full of food in the dry season, especially along the Zambezi River in Zimbabwe and Zambia. Oh, look at these elephants. Just have a bit of a quiet moment, folks, just to enjoy the sounds of these elephant bulls swimming. So we have a question here from Hudson, is asking, why is some sand so red and other sand is very white? So Hudson, sand can be different colors depending on the different areas, different regions, but also different mineral content as well as weathering process. So red soils generally indicate very high iron or very rich soils. White soils are mostly pure and silica, like they've got a lot of quartz, and black soils are quite volcanic and mineral rich. So as you can see here in Tembe Elephant Park, the sand is very white, so it's mostly pure quartz and silica, or coral or shell fragments, ancient coral or shell fragments, which is quite common near coastal beaches and inland areas, which makes sense because Tembe is not too far from the nearest coast. So yeah, just a bit of an idea. Yellow sands can be very iron poor, like sandstone and weathered rock, and green sands are rare, but this is normally formed from minerals like olivine. So yeah, every area, depending on the habitat, geographical history, can have different soil types. Elephants. So as we mentioned earlier, elephant bulls do also mount each other, and this is just a fun, playful dominance display between these males. So Deb D, hello Deb D, a new member. Thank you for sending your comment. Deb is near Hershey in Pennsylvania, US. Thank you for watching today, Deb. We've got another comment from Kim. Kim is asking, are the elephants across different parts of Africa all the same? So no, Kim, we do have different types of elephants in Africa. We're talking about different soil types and different habitats, and that is also what differentiates the different elephant species. So we have, there's 3 different elephant species. They are have been genetically studied and have been confirmed to be distinct species, not just subspecies. So our 3 different elephant species is the African Savannah or African bush elephant, Loxodonta africana, which are these elephants we're currently watching here in South Africa. We have the African forest elephant, which is Loxodonta cyclotis, which occurs in the forests, equatorial forests of Central and West Africa. And then, of course, we do also have the desert elephants, which I know they keep mentioning they want to create, kind of study the genes of these desert elephants to see if they are definitely a different species, but I think they're still part of the African bush elephants. And then, of course, you do have the Indian elephants, which do not occur in Africa. Wow, there's another new big bull that's just arrived. I think when these elephants, if there's just a few elephants that you find, they are not so prone to having a swim, but the more elephants that arrive, the more it feels like a bit of a pool party, and they all tempt each other to have a good swim. So Kim, I hope that answers your question about the different elephant species. So as of currently, there are just 3 different elephant species. Susie was asking, are these elephants mating? So Susie, as I mentioned, some of the animals that mate with each other that might not be related to reproductive purposes, besides bonobos, dolphins, another one is elephants. So elephant bulls will mate each other as a sign of dominance. Well, she's getting some nice soft sand there. This elephant bull's using his foot to dig up some soft sand and splashing or spraying himself and scattering the sand across his body, could be to cool him down after he had a nice swim. So Roslyn, I also hope I answered your question about these male elephants mating while swimming. So not necessarily mating, just a dominance display between these boys. It's quite a big elephant bull, this guy that's spraying himself with sand or scattering sand on his body. Roy Jabeur, yes, these elephants are having such a fun time. It's like a little elephant pool party. Ooh, I can hear some red-faced mouse birds calling. Also heard, must have been maybe a brown-hooded kingfisher vocalizing just now while the elephants were busy swimming. This is a mineral area here where these elephants are dust bathing. Tembe has got very mineral rich soils. There's our woodland, the brown-hooded kingfisher calling. These elephants seem to make quite a lot of these depressions in this area. They'll soften up the sand. After having a nice pool party, they'll then take this nice soft sand. It can be an anti-parasitic, to remove and get rid of any parasites on their skin, or even just to settle any itches that they might have. Such a lovely, peaceful scene here. I'm talking about elephants dust bathing. Cam and I had an amazing sighting of those elephants in Mabulla. They were also doing the same. They were all standing in a little huddle, dust bathing themselves midday. So this behavior that these elephants have towards each other, you can tell that they trust each other. These bulls obviously know each other very well. They trust each other, very comfortable in each other's presence. looking quite dry here in Tembe, but the forest line still looks quite nice and green. Lots of bird life. Oh, it's just so lovely to listen to these birds over in Tembe.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times, it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Looking for some interesting more areas where you can see the elephants have been spending time in the sand here. Alrighty, looks like we've linked across to Victoria Falls, folks. So we are here at Safari Lodge Victoria Falls with some marabou storks. So Deb D was asking about tembe. Kerry, they appear to be deciduous trees, but I don't notice leaves dropping. So Deb D, tembe is quite an interesting location. So they do have quite a subtropical climate. So it can be hot, but they do have wet summers and mild, dry winters. So they have quite a high rainfall of about 700 to 1,000 mils of rain per year. And the vegetation is mostly miombo and coastal thickets. So that does mean that the vegetation over in Tembe Elephant Park is green mostly throughout the year because of their proximity to the coast and because of the high rainfall that they receive. And I think it's one of our only locations that I noticed last year seemed to be mostly green throughout the year. As you can see here in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, it's quite dry, quite barren. Looks like all the trees are dead. They're actually just dormant, waiting for the rains to arrive before they all start sprouting their little vibrantly green leaves. So Jay Jabeur is asking, Kerry, do you know if there are any tuskers in Tembe? So Jay, yes, apparently there are some tuskers still left in Tembe Elephant Park. It is a protected community reserve, which I think is quite special. And yeah, they are very well known for having some very good genetics of massive tuskers that are still in Tembe. So some of Africa's largest elephants, which are known as the big tuskers. These are individuals that have tusks that could weigh up to 40 kilograms each. And if I'm not mistaken, there should be at least 3 or 4 tuskers still left in Tembe. They have some incredibly long incredibly big elephant bulls that still reside in the park. So yeah, I don't know if any of our viewers have seen any of the tuskers in Tembe. Please feel free to let me know. Mr. Ellie Mental says hello from Albany in Western Australia. Hello, Mr. Ellie Mental. Thank you for joining us today. Recycled Teenager also sent through a comment asking, is it the elephant matriarch who decides if one of the bachelor males can re-enter the herd to mate with a female in season? So yes, Mr. Recycled Teenager from the UK, the matriarch of the group is the one who will determine how close the males can get into the group and if she allows them to stay in the group. Otherwise there'll be some altercations and a bit of squabbling or kind of distress vocalizations from the matriarch trying to chase these males out. So it looks like we've got some vultures, whiteback vultures. I actually saw some Cape Griffins on the weekend, or Cape vultures. I was very excited. I went for a hike in the Magaliesberg Mountains and I was very excited to see some Cape Griffins. So these whiteback vultures are more common throughout most parts of Africa. Those Cape Griffins much bigger, a lot lighter in color, especially on the underbelly and on the back. So yeah, and they're a much bigger bird than these whiteback vultures. So yeah, it's very excited to see a Cape vulture. It's been quite a while. I guess these vultures are waiting for the feeding to take place. As the feeding time approaches, it's amazing how these vultures, it's almost like they know exactly when the sun is in a particular position in the sky, they know when they can come down for feeding. So no vultures can't tell the time, but they'll read the environmental conditions as well as the position of the sun. So they're very in tune with their surroundings, and then they'll fly in and wait for the vulture feeding to take place. It's a perfect spot as well, because vultures do need to drink, especially after feeding. So I find after vultures have fed at a feeding site or on a carcass, they generally will want to go to the closest water source for a drink. Yep. So there is also a pecking order amongst vultures. Quite a lot of interesting dominance displays that does take place amongst them. So these are the two more common species that we do see at the vulture feeding, although we have hooded vultures that do also come into the vulture feeding as well. Oh, have a look. Our marabou stork is also having a drink. So generally at a kill site, your larger vulture species is usually dominant at the carcasses. So your lappet face vultures and your whiteback vultures will be a lot more dominant over your smaller vulture species like your hooded vultures. Where are these hooded vultures? So Kyle is asking, do vultures ever fight? do vultures ever fight the marabou? So, Kyle, vultures can try to fight the marabou. So I feel like when vultures are feeding, or these large birds, scavenging birds, are feeding at a kill site, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet, or like I said, it's like a big family. If you live in a big family and it's meal time and you've got teenagers around, you just imagine how that feels like. Just everyone trying to tuck into this all-you-can-eat buffet. There's lots of squabbling, lots of family politics, everyone's hungry, and that's pretty much, to me, what vultures are like at a kill site. It's just everyone's trying to get in there. These smaller whiteback vultures might try to fight the marabous, but the marabou has the advantage of having very long legs, so he just towers over all the other vultures, walks in there, and he can very easily steal pieces of meat away. Nakata is asking, what do marabou nests look like? So Nakata, marabou storks' nests are not very pretty. They are just a stick nest up in very tall, high trees. They do nest in colonies, or they can nest in riverlines next to each other. Alrighty folks, let's head across to Eldonio, see what's happening at Kenya. Well, looks like we've got some more big elephant bulls that are coming through to the waterhole. So we had 2 big bulls earlier, but a couple of zebra here in Eldonio. We do still have an eland lurking around. I think he was hoping for a drink, but with these big bulls around, I don't know if he's going to get a chance to drink anytime soon. Looks like our zebra also desperate for a drink, so as we
For years we've shared virtual wildlife. Now let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
And that's it for this morning's drive.
She's just got an impala, everybody.
And we're going to be heading out and seeing what animals we can find.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
for small creatures to live, but also these little social gathering places in order for these species to interact with one another. Just like in the forest elephants are not as social as your African bush elephant. Forest elephants are more solitary. They form small family units. They don't form breeding herds. So a group of forest elephants is known as a family unit. Normally only 3 to 5, maybe 6 individuals maximum. So the only time that these forest elephants really get to socialize and interact is when they come to a waterhole like this. Have a look, there's quite a big bull on the other side of the pan. It looks like he's missing a tusk. There will be a hierarchy of drinking amongst the elephant bulls, so the younger bulls will have to wait their turn to drink, cautiously waiting alongside these bigger bulls, sometimes using quite a submissive behavior as well as submissive gestures like trunk touching and lowering their heads. Once the bigger bulls have drunk, then the younger bulls can come in and drink after these larger bulls. Oh, look at this elephant bull scratching behind his ear on the other elephant's bottom. So again, this is a very good sign that these bulls are very close to each other. They trust each other. They have quite tight bonds. Zebra are very cautiously coming in for a drink, but any moment one of these bulls could turn around and chase these zebra away. So it's quite interesting watching elephant bulls at a watering hole, because it does give you a very good idea of a bit of an insight into the elephants, which of the age, who might be the oldest bull, their hierarchy, as well as who's more playful, so their character, if they're in musk. So it really does help you to piece together the puzzle of a social dynamic of a group of elephants. Oh, we got a little zebra foal. Check out this little young zebra. Must be a few weeks old, still fluffy. What? So Lucy is asking, how long can elephants walk in search of food and water? So Lucy, elephants are incredible and do have the ability to walk very long distances to search for food and water. On average, their daily distance they can cover is about 5 to 10 kilometers while foraging. So that's when they're in an area where they have a lot of food and they're just moving and feeding. That's not necessarily them searching for food, but in Botswana, some places, some locations in Botswana don't have water for kilometers. So like in Botswana or Kenya, these elephants can migrate 50 to 70 kilometers between wet season and dry season ranges. So yeah, they can move quite far distances in order to find food or water. And yeah, of course, big bulls do need to drink at least once a day or once every few days, but the breeding herds are more dependent on water because of those young calves. So breeding herd do have to drink at least twice a day because of those tiny little calves that they have amongst the herd. Otherwise, the calves start to become dehydrated, so do the cows, and then they don't have milk. So the breeding herds are more dependent on needing to drink at least twice a day, whereas these bulls can sometimes go for a few days without having a drink. Penelope Kenyon, yes, this is a lovely screenshot right here with our zebra bottoms, and Oryx has also joined us, and our massive elephant balls. Such a lovely sight we have here. And actually today I broke one of my records for live at the waterhole. So my record for the most amount of species in one frame was here at Aldonio, and I think it was 7 different species we had in one frame. It was a very busy day. But today at Tau we had 7 different species in one frame. We had the elephants, we had zebra, we had kudu, we had waterbuck, it was crocodiles, impala, and what else? There was a 7th species. Oh, and wildebeest. So yeah, incredible to see all these locations. Sorry folks, our Aldonio feed seems to be a tad unstable today. So we are currently back here at Tembe, and we're just talking about the interesting habitat that Tembe has. The fact that they are mostly green throughout the year. These trees don't seem to lose their leaves very much, and it could be because of the habitat, the climate, the proximity to the ocean. It's just such a special place, special reserve. So a lot of the trees here will be green throughout the year. They also seem to receive a little bit of early rains, which ties the tree overs for the year, I feel. So I got a question from Dark Main Lover is asking, Kerry, can Asian elephants live in SA if some elephants were relocated to different areas, and can African elephants mate and have offspring? So Dark Main Lover, yes, African elephants and Asian elephants can interbreed. Generally it can only happen once, it can't happen a second time. So an offspring from an African and Asian elephant can't then go forth and have another offspring, as far as I understand. But yeah, it's Asian elephants, the habitat is completely wrong. So African elephants wouldn't survive, and Asian elephants wouldn't survive in Africa, just because of the habitat. I think the climate would be quite difficult as well. So there's just a few factors that would really affect the ability for these elephants to survive in such different habitats. Oh, look at these elephants. They are just having a great time. So it seems like we've had a few more bulls arriving. Maybe that's why the pool party has started all over again. So we've got a question here from Keith Johnson from Houston, Texas. Keith is asking, how closely related are zebra and horses? Always a pleasure to hear your voice. Thank you so much, Keith Johnson. So Keith, zebra and horses are both belonging to the family Equidae. So zebra are in the genus Equus, just like horses and donkeys. So this does make them very closely related. They do share common ancestors over about 4 to 4.5 million years ago. So very, very long time ago they did share some ancestors. They do have a lot of similarities. Obviously their digestive system, their hooves, social behavior. But yeah, zebra and horses will be almost like cousins, but obviously one is more domestic. And zebra and horses, zebra and donkeys can actually crossbreed. They call it a zonki. I have seen zonkies before in Zimbabwe and Botswana, actually. My goodness, in Maun, capital city of Botswana, I have seen some zonkies running around. Basically donkeys with striped legs. So although they can interbreed, it doesn't give a great genetic diversity. So yeah, it's not necessarily advised, I would say. So hello Tinas is asking, hello Kerry, did you see any new birds on your hike? Tinas, I have 2 bird mysteries from my last hike on the weekend that I'm still trying to discover what they could be. One bird, I just heard it calling, a very unusual rasping sound that I heard this bird calling in the Magaliesberg Mountains. So I've got the audio that I've sent off to some birding experts. Hopefully they can help me identify this very strange bird call. Almost sounded kind of like a squirrel, but it definitely was a bird rasping sound. And then, yeah, there's again another bird that a few little LBJs that I saw. I'm not great with LBJs, so I have sent that info through to some birding experts. Hopefully they can help me find some good birds. But if any of our viewers have done any hiking or live in the Magaliesberg area or around Hartbeespoort Dam over in South Africa in Gauteng, I'd love you to send me some of your favorite bird lifers in your area. As I mentioned, I saw the Cape Griffin or the Cape Vulture. So very cool to see some vultures this weekend. Of course, we did see the gonolek, crimson-breasted gonolek or crimson-breasted shrike. Lots of mouse birds, some white-browed sparrow weavers, little tinkerbirds. Always awesome to see the birding up in those little foresty mountains of the Magaliesberg mountain range. So Tinus, I'd love to know what your bird lifer is for some of your favorite birds up in the Magaliesberg mountains. Lots of greenbills as well, just like we're hearing here in Tembe. Greenbills always remind me of forests. So please folks, the QR code is on screen now. I'd love to know what are your favorite birds that you have seen in and around the Hartbeespoort Dam or the Magaliesberg mountain range. There are some new birds in that area that I'm not quite sure of. Definitely love to do some birding in that area. Oh, look at this elephant on the other side of the dam. He's blowing water into his mouth but doesn't seem to be catching it all. Definitely a busy day here at Tembe. Lots of activity. The pool party is in full-blown flow. Oh, look, there's two balls that are just flying in the water. It does get hot in these summer months, and it's a perfect day for an elephant to go down and just submerge themselves. It must be so relaxing for them as well to get off of their feet. Imagine these elephants weighing 6 to 8, maybe even 9 tons on their feet all day. Oh. This elephant ball's rubbing his eye. So Darkman Lover is asking, Kerry, have you thought about climbing Mount Kili?
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is Jem. He's driving. Yo, you gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving. Yo, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Join us on the greatest and largest game drive in the world.
easy for elephants to have a swim. Oh, look at these elephants fighting. These are still the two young naughty boys that were fighting earlier. They're still going at it. Obviously challenging each other. Neither of them wants to step down. They both want to be higher up on the little hierarchy amongst this elephant bull herd. Look how white their ivory is, or their tusks are after they've been in the water. Very black because of their skin being wet. And then there goes very white, pearly white ivory. What a happy day here live at the waterhole. As you can see, the older, wiser bulls are kind of just standing by, watching as these younger juveniles get up to nonsense. So as you can see here, this collared elephant bull's on the right. I was trying to look for him. He's just there. So elephant collars and tracking are a very fascinating topic to discuss. So important for conservation and behavioral studies, as well as anti-poaching efforts. So some of these big elephant tusker bulls, I do know they do have collars on, and that's in order to monitor them for their safety. So it is a GPS or satellite collar that are fitted around the elephant's neck. In rhinos it's generally around their ankles, and in predators again it's normally around their necks. So it can transmit their location as well as movement patterns, and in some cases I know there's these new collars that are very high tech that can even transmit physiological data like activity or the animal's stress level, even heart rate. So I know they use these AI collars or very advanced collars, especially with rhinos or any special species that they're trying to monitor. Have a look, there's our big collared elephant bull. So it's amazing the data that they've collected from these collars. They can get a better idea of elephants' home ranges and the distances that they are able to move, and also if elephants have been causing problems with going out of national parks, maybe into human settlements. So it can help to alert rangers as well as alerting people if elephants are in risky areas close to people. So Maisha from SA, yes, these two young elephant bulls they've been sparring between each other for most of the show today, and again they can probably go on for days and days and days before they finally come to an agreement as to who is the more dominant individual. It's just like young children too, or if you have dogs, just like our dogs, just constantly be playing with each other, and it's so important for their social development, as well as just building life skills. Now the bigger boys are starting to joust and jostle with each other a little bit. So as I mentioned with these collars, it can also help if these tuskers have been poached somewhere. They can help to identify these individuals. I know there's... Oh, there these elephants go. Oh, the power behind these elephant bulls. They're probably looking right into each other's eye, testing one another. Battle of the beasts. So yeah, these collars that these elephants do wear are non-harmful. They are very lightweight, and they are monitored quite carefully. So if they need to be changed, in most cases with elephants the collars are quite big, so it is very difficult for them to outgrow their collars. But with predators like cheetah, it is normally a requirement, especially growing individuals. You might have to change those collars. Whereas with elephants, generally, if the batteries die after a few years, they normally will drop off. And in other cases, if it is causing any sort of interference or frustration to the elephant, then they might dart the individual and take the collars off. But the elephant collars generally are mostly designed to drop off after a few years. And depending on how frequently the signals are giving off and how often it is, the device is updating, that will determine how long those batteries will last. So if the device is updating a few times a day, the battery might only last a couple of months. But if you set it to the device. Alright folks, let's head across to Tau for the last few minutes of the show. So we have had an elephantastic day, folks. We seem to have had elephants everywhere, and it has been so delightful. I should have seen that one coming. I've been watching elephants on TV all day. So I think I had a lucky elephant day today, and it has been such a pleasure to see all these elephants at the different locations, and especially here at Tau, to watch these breeding herds come down, which we don't often see, is very, very special. And of course watching those elephant bulls jousting with each other at Tembe and having a good swim. So Maisha, good afternoon, and thank you for your comments. It has been a lovely day. Deb D, it is so great to have you with us and have you joining us on the show today, Deb D. I won't be live at the waterhole tomorrow, but I will be live at the waterhole on Wednesday. So just want to say a big thank you to all of our viewers for watching today. From me and the rest of the Wild Earth team, we look forward to seeing you next time live at the waterhole. Have a fabulous Monday afternoon, folks, and have a fantastic, elephantastic day.